When is good enough good enough? I know that I can be a huge perfectionist. From a really young age, I have vivid memories of producing a piece of art for my art GCSEs and working on it and picking at it and refining it to the point of absolutely hating it and then destroying it. I wasn't able to recognise then what was good enough for me. And actually, it became quite a destructive streak of mine that I couldn't see when to stop and when enough was enough. It's actually an element of me that I continue to have to manage as an adult, and that I continue to have to recognise and effectively address when I can see that my striving to the perfectionist and to be the best is actually not helpful to me. I think being a perfectionist can propel you forwards to success, but I also think it can be quite crippling as well. It's a trait I see in myself and it's a trait I see in other people. So I think it's trying to identify when is good enough good enough. I know that I hold myself highly in respect of the qualifications I've gained, the tests I've passed, the challenges I've overcome. It was actually something I identified with my coach many, many years ago when I first encountered coaching. And I can see it in myself today as a coach. I'm qualified. I've done a few accreditations now, but I still have this tendency to look for the next qualification. And although that's great in terms of how it grows my skill set, I have to be careful to know when actually it's holding me back, because I've identified that what it can do is cause me to procrastinate. So actually, I will hold myself back through the way in which I'm talking to myself in respect of saying, you're not good enough yet, you're not there yet, you still need to do X, Y, Z. And it can stop me from going for opportunities if I look at it and think, but I haven't got everything I need. And what I'm doing is actually dismissing what I do have, whether that be my qualifications, whether it be my experience, the knowledge I've gained, the skills I've grown over being in a career for over 15 years. So I think if any of this resonates with you, here's my tips. This is my advice based on my experience. I think it's recognizing when you yourself are in this more destructive cycle of perfectionism. So actually pausing and stopping to reflect on actually what in this is helpful to me that I can use as positive energy to keep me energized and to be moving forwards. But what is actually unhelpful? Where can you identify that actually it's causing you to procrastinate and to be quite self-critical and maybe even dismissive of your achievements and successes, and being too quick to disregard that and not recognize it for its worth? So I think it's one, being aware. I think two, it's being really clear and specific about what you want to achieve. And if you like, what is the bare requirement to get that? So you can clearly see that bottom stop, if you like, as well as then looking at and what's the absolute best case that you would like to achieve. So you've got two levels. That way you can recognise when you've done enough to get what you want. And then pause to say, and if I want to do a bit more to get even better, then I can if I want to, but without wearing yourself out to the point where you completely disregard what you've done and the fact that that actually could be good enough to get you there. I think the next thing is looking at the resources and the strengths that you have already and celebrating those and acknowledging them for what they are. And that can be your skills, your experience, any formal qualifications you've gained, just being clear about what they are and holding them in your mind, even visually. Create visuals around you if that helps you, just so that you can remind yourself of it, rather than looking at things you don't yet have. I think remembering that things are a not yet, not a never. So this is about having a growth mindset. So if there are qualifications, if there's training, if there's more learning you want to do, it's being clear about how that may make the difference to you, but being clear about it's not just a never that you don't have it, it's a not yet. So don't, again, hold yourself back thinking about all things you don't have, but think about the positive actions you can take to get those if that's what you need. I think the last thing I would say is reminding yourself that you are enough and you are worthy without this. So qualifications don't define you and who you are and what you have to offer. You are just as good without them as you are as having them as well. If you want to learn more about this topic and understand how you can better define for yourself what is good enough for you, then get in touch and visit me at gripcoaching.co.uk.